What screams I'm depressed? Huge bottles of whatever is desired next to a messy bed. Being able to drop a harmful habit and feeling good about it, then finding another harmful habit and start over again. When you're spending the whole day watching videos on your phone, crying for no reason and then watching videos again. Yelling at the top of your lungs I'm depressed. Waking up to a new day but going to bed feeling the same as yesterday. Thinking about doing things that I used to do like drawing, always dreaming about all the places I can travel to one day and explore, studying all the things I could have majored in, neurosurgery, EMT, forensic science technician, criminal justice, etc., or binge watching shows, and just feeling really tired because I don't feel the same motivation I used to have. Doing the same things every day because nothing can really bring back the same feelings of wanting to explore like before. That leads to being mistaken as lazy or bland when even life doesn't interest me anymore. Not defending myself and just accepting it because people who can't relate just won't understand. Once in a while I'll have a burst of energy to do something but it's temporary and eventually I fall back again. Repeat. Edit, added more. Constantly making jokes and calling attention to yourself. When the downloading pauses at 98% over an hour. Feels like decade. Using Reddit to connect with others who have depression. After reading some of the comment here, I'm just left here confused whether or not I'm depressed. I thought that I might be a few months ago, but my family convinced me that I was just sad or bored because I finished school and don't have a job or anything at all to do, so I kinda went with that. I always convinced myself that I'm tired because I stay up too late, or don't go to the gym or study programming because I'm lazy, or don't engage or continue a conversation because I'm shy. When I hear about people who suffer from depression, they talk about much worse cases than what I think I have. So I just came to a conclusion that my family was right, and what right do I have to say that I'm depressed when other people are in much worse situations? It's normally harder to spot in others as they tend to try and hide it. Most people didn't really know I was depressed or how bad it was until my attempted suicide. They usually try to hide it with a shell of happiness, for example always making jokes or mucking around to entertain themselves or others. They aren't normally the ones to frequently post on social media about it, and when they do you can normally tell if it's serious, especially if it's not part of their normal behavior to talk about it. Their language use is another hint if opening up about it. Because people do look for attention and use it to obtain it, which usually goes to waste by the time someone seriously affected needs it. 14-year-olds that watch too many sad Bart Simpson edits. Deleted display picture in social media with sudden depressing posts. Mostly people, but sometimes pine trees get in on the action. If you post a Simpson edit on Snap or Instagram, smiley face. From the outside, bad temper, apathy, rapid mood swings, crying for little or no reason, uncharacteristic withdrawal. From the inside, feelings of worthlessness, apathy, confusion, inability to do simple tasks, inability to concentrate, making lots of little mistakes, feelings of dread, feelings of loneliness, and worse. If you think you are depressed, the real question is how do you handle it? The answer is, talk to someone. Be it a trusted friend, your doctor, or even a stranger. It really is the only way to deal with the problem and start to move forward. And trust me, it may seem like a difficult step to take, but once you start to recover you will feel so much better, and you will be so glad you took that step. Take the step. Pretending to be fine, helping everyone you know. But at the end of the day, when you're finally alone in your house, you can't stop crying for at least 2 hours. Then you remember all your horrible past memories or your broken dreams, and in the worst cases you start contemplate the idea that maybe the world would be better if you no longer exist. When you think about how many years you have left to live, and it seems unfathomably long and you can't imagine what you're going to do all those years, there is nothing good or interesting to look forward to. It's like a long prison sentence where all you can do is wait. Frequent absenteeism from work/school. This post Sitting alone in your Jeep at midnight listening to Nirvana as you debate with yourself about becoming a Cobaniac. It's not necessarily the presence of sadness, although that can and does feature. It's the absence of joy. I describe my down days as the physical sensation of gravity having been turned up to 11, coupled with my inner monologue being dubbed in a language I don't understand. Can't be bothered. From personal experience, just in a slump so hard that nothing interests you and the activities you love doing just doesn't do it for you at the time. My clothes. Well, usually if you are that depressed you could scream at everything, but cannot because what use will that do? Looking lackluster, and thinking bad thoughts and etc. But there is help for those that need it. It is free and very great. Or you can just use drugs to comfort yourself, but that in itself is usually going to damage you further on, and depending on the legality of them then could be even worse. Some depressed people never scream, and put on a facade of being in total control, despite crippling emotions. There is no way to gauge someone just by their actions. The main thing is there are practically no real signs of depression. The only real way is if they tell you, or try to get help for it. When you can't do anything but listen to uplifting jazz and eat carrot cake. Waking up trying to go to work and just asking yourself if it's even worth it anymore as you stay glued to your bed. Once you finally get out of bed, your commute to work seems like a hell because you're left alone with your own thoughts. Finally getting to work and putting on your mask, just trying to make it through the next 8 hours without a problem. Then your coworker asks the simple and basic question of how are you? And your thoughts are running through your head of how things actually are, but your mask is on, so you just say good as you break eye contact, hoping that he doesn't notice the lie you just told. Finally the day is over and you're heading back home thinking you can finally enjoy taking a break and you can start doing that thing you love, except you don't love doing it anymore, but you do it because you love doing it, only to go to bed and do it again tomorrow. Not wanting to get a job cause even though you really need money, your life was worse at work. Making those sad Instagram edits. We hide to try our feelings, but we forget that our eyes speak. When you feel as though you are in a never-ending tunnel, pitch black with no way out. You could be in a room full of people and feel like the longest person on the planet. Me, 0. You see a red door and you want it painted black. People who still use #Tumblr on their Insta pics. Oversleeping, keeping your room dark all the time, cancelling plans. When you have felt yourself sliding further and further into the hole without having the energy or motivation to try and pull yourself back out. Extreme anxiety at responding to your best friend's texts. Rem is your waifu. Eating a cheesecake brownie at 12 AM and washing it down with half a bottle of Baileys. R/squared circle. I don't think anything things screams it. I know when I was suffering I was ashamed of it and didn't want people to know. Being a teenage girl. Most teenagers. Self-harming, isolation, preoccupied thought, suicidal ideation, laying in bed all day without sleeping, easily agitated, lose of appetite, self-medicating, and sad. Making a post with the title "What Screams I'm Depressed?" For me, it tends to take on a few different forms. The one with which I'm most familiar is dead inside. Just numb, dark and cold, unable to find joy in anything, and even though something should be sparking an emotional reaction in me, it just falls into a void, never to be seen again. On these days I just exist, drifting through the day and doing what I'm supposed to do at my job, but wishing I was anywhere but there and looking forwards to bed when I can at least get a few hours respite from it. Then, because my depression has a bunkmate called anxiety, when I go to bed dead tired, I climb into bed and it hits me like a ton of bricks. I'm no longer sleepy but wide awake, electrified and frightened. It's either a non-specific feeling of dread or I am pinpoint focused on something, and until that something is solved or delayed there is no sleep. My prior job in emergency call taking likes to haunt me, and I wake up during the night in sweats and panic over the smallest things, or I'm playing back the voices of the dead and dying in my mind. The good nights are few and far between, and although I do have medication I can take for better sleep, it leaves me worse for wear the next day. Part 3 is the anger and the ideation. When I am so annoyed and angry with myself over the stupidest and most trivial stuff, that I will work myself into a destructive tailspin with the worst possible ending in sight. I'll start to rationalize why the world would be better if I wasn't in it, and start to think on the ways I could achieve that. But, all isn't lost. I am very fortunate to be on an antidepressant dose that is working, and I have a support network, and see a psychologist regularly. I'm not perfect and I don't think I ever will be, but I'm swimming in far clearer waters than I have been for a long time, and the worst days are slowly fading. Smiley face.